students. I am Dr. Shikha Pandey, Associate Professor from Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. So today's discussion is energy resource and their growing energy needs. So we are discussing module 2 for natural resource, and in the previous video lectures I have discussed about natural resource, mineral resource, water resource. So now comes to the energy resource, and now starts this energy resource by the basic thing, like why we need their energy growing needs is getting increased day by day due to the increase in population. This energy needs is going to be increased day by day. So the today's discussing outline is, we'll discuss about energy and various forms of energy consumed, growing energy need, energy and economics, commercial form of energy, classification, needs to reform in energy sector, energy consumption in different sectors in India, renewable energy and non-renewable energy, non-renewable and conventional energy, and its and then dependency on fossil fuel, and then the comparison between renewable and non-renewable energy resource, and then global energy consumption. So let's start this discussion with the very basic things, that is about the energy. First, we will have to understand this. What is this energy? Very simply, we will define energy as the capacity to do work is called as energy. Basic capacity to do any work is called as energy. And production and utilization of energy is the indicator of a country progress. So, and it is the primary input for industrial operation. Production and utilization of energy is the indicator of the country progress. So if a country is doing very good production of energy, and the energy utilization of that country is very good, that means that country is growing very fast, and that country is a developed nation. So USA has a very more production of energy, and they are utilizing their energy in different sector in a very prominent way. So that USA country comes under developed country. Our country comes under the developing nation. So our country has a very less amount of advanced energy technique. So that we are studying this topic, like why the energy demand is growing day by day, why this energy present in our country is not sufficient for our population, not sufficient for our industrial growth, not sufficient for our country progress. So we are discussing on that point in very much detail. So first of all, basically India is using three forms of energy, that is fossil fuel, natural gas and coal. These forms of energy is the conventional source of energy that we are using from many times, and our country is totally dependent on these three source of energy: oil, natural gas and coal. And these energy resource is the commercial energy resource also, because these energy is using in our industries also. So now comes to the various forms of energy. That one is the basic thing of energy. Like, what is energy? Energy is nothing but a capacity to do work is called as energy. So various forms of energy. So we will have 5 types of energy. First one is the potential energy, thermal energy, nuclear energy, kinetic energy and chemical energy. So we'll start with the first one energy, that is potential energy. Potential means stored. So energy that is stored is called as potential energy, and it can be converted to kinetic energy, and then kinetic energy it can be again converted into potential energy. So potential energy is nothing but the ocean energy. Ocean thermal power plant that is present in the water is called as potential energy. Now comes to the thermal energy. Thermal energy relating or associated with heat. Energy relating or associated with heat is called as mechanical energy or thermal energy. The kinetic and potential energy are considered together, and they are called as thermal energy. Together, kinetic energy and potential energy is called as thermal energy. Now comes to the nuclear energy. Energy that is produced by fusion or fission of a nuclei of an atom, or simply the energy released by a nuclear reaction is called as nuclear energy, just like solar energy. Now comes to the kinetic energy. Kinetic energy is nothing that thing which is moving is called as kinetic energy, and it is a very common form of energy. And the best example of kinetic energy is the wind. And wind has the kinetic energy because wind is moving every time, so wind has the kinetic energy, and that's why we are using kinetic energy from wind power, wind windmill. Now comes to the next form of energy, that is chemical energy. That part of the energy is a substance that can be released by chemical reaction, is called as electrical energy. It is also called as electrical energy. Energy that is released by the chemical substance is called as chemical energy, and it comes under the category of electrical energy also. Now, energy consumed is in India. We are going to discuss in this slide like how much percentage of an energy is used in different sector. So India is the seventh largest country and have a population of 1.2 billion people. India is the very largest country, and India is a very highly densely populated country, and to maintain its growth, rapid growth in the energy sector, we need more and more amount of energy. So basically, first one is a 68% is the other form of energy. 25% of energy is the hydropower energy. Only 2% we are using nuclear power energy. 4% we are using diesel and gas, and 1% we are using is other form of energy. Like 68% we are using thermal power plant energy. Thermal power plant is nothing but the electricity we are generated from thermal power plant is called as thermal power plant energy, means electricity. So coal, what is used in this thermal power plant? Coal is used to burn, and by burning of coal we will produce thermal power plant, and we will produce energy. So what we understand from this thing, basically what India is using is the coal is the conventional source of energy, and the basic source of energy that we are using today is the coal only. So by the burning of coal, we are using thermal power plant, and India is totally dependent on coal for the energy consumption. And coal reserves is a very less in India, and it is going to be vanished after some time. So we have to search some alternate source of energy also. And by the burning of coal, lots of pollution is generated. It will pollute in soil. It will pollute air, water, groundwater, everything. Because by the burning of coal, some little amount of fly ash is generated from thermal power plant. That fly ash will disperse in the environment, and will affect the plant, will affect the will cause air pollution, will cause sometimes water pollution, because this fly ash contains some very heavy metals that during the rainy season, that heavy metal leach out into the groundwater, and it will pollute the groundwater. So and the fly ash is the very fly ash is generated in very high amount. And what thermal power plant is doing, like they are utilizing this fly ash in some sectors like cement making or brick making, but that is not that much successful, and the amount of generation of fly ash is too much. And so what they are doing, they will directly throw it in the slurry pond by making slurry in the water, so that it will be settle in the water. It will be not dispersed in the air in the form of air pollution, but by settling in the chamber, by settling in the pond, after during the rainy season, that heavy metal that is present in the fly ash will leach out and will pollute the groundwater. So this is a very serious concern about the thermal power plant. So we have to think about some different alternative green initiative for the energy consumption in India. Now comes to the next slide, that is why our energy growing is needed. Energy growth needed some alternative, because energy is a very important input for the development, and it aims at human welfare covering household. It will consider all area like household activity, agriculture and transport activity, and industrial complexes. So this energy is needed everywhere, either in agriculture transport, either in agriculture sector, or in industrial sector, or in household activity. Every sector you need energy in very much amount. It is the very basic point of a development of a country, development of a person, and progress of a nation. So due to population explosion and demand for various forms of energy, it going to be increased in going to increase many times. And as far as the availability of fuel is concerned, the Indian population is still heavily dependent on traditional fuel. That is the main problem of our country, that our population is growing day by day too much, but our dependency is totally on the traditional fuel like firewood, animal waste, and agriculture residue. So these are the basic traditional waste, traditional kind of energy we are using from ancient times. So this is they are causing pollution also, and they are going to be reduced. And whatever energy it is giving, that is very less as compared to new forms of energy. So we need some alternative way of energy, because our country is very much populated, our population is too much, and as for their demand, energy is not present in that amount, and we are totally dependent on traditional fossil fuels like coal, petroleum, and natural gas, and their reserves is going to be vanished in some time, because they are non-renewable energy resource. They are traditional kind of resource, and they are non-renewable energy resource. Now comes to the next slide, that is about energy and economics. Why this energy is related with economics? Because that energy is very much important for our economic growth. Energy is related to the industrial sector, energy is related to the agriculture, energy is related to the industry, energy is related to all sector of a country. So this is very much related with the economic of a country. If too much energy is there in a country, that nation will grow fast. That nation will think about some more and more investment in their industrial sector. Our energy consumption should be increased, and economic growth is essential. And for the economic growth is too much essential for any country. That is obvious. Energy is related to economics. Economics is related to energy. If we will increase the energy growth, then that will cause progress in the nation. And if economic growth is there, then country will also growing like that. So the ratio of energy demand and GDP is useful indicator for economic growth. Economic growth of country is depend upon rate of improvement in per capita energy consumption. Like US is a very advanced country, very developed nation. Their energy consumption is 30,000 to 46 kilowatt per year, and per capita energy consumption in India is just 684 kilowatt per year. So this is an per capita energy consumption is related with the economic growth of a country. Now, what are the commercial forms of energy? That forms of energy that is related with a commercial, like that is used in commercial sources. That is those forms of energy that is used in our industrial sector. So, energy resource which is economically and technically acceptable is known as commercial fuel. As for example, after the invention of IC engine, oil become a commercial fuel. Coal, oil, and gas are used. And for sustainable growth of the country, we look forward for a new available form of energy. Nuclear or hydro energy is one of the cleanest fuel, and they have a future too. So after the successful use of energy, these energy will form a commercial fuel. But we are using this oil, coal, and petroleum is too good. But these form of energy don't have any good future, and they are not cleanest source of energy also. So we'll divide on the basis of source. On the basis of source, we'll divide energy in the form of commercial and non-commercial. So commercial source is again of two type, like conventional source of energy. Conventional source of energy means nothing are those source of energy that we are using traditionally like coal, natural gas, and petroleum, that we are using from the ancient time, and they are the traditional source of energy. So this is called as conventional source of energy. And non-commercial and commercial source, non-conventional energy, some sectors is like solar, wind, and biomass. They are non-conventional source of energy, but some industry is using solar, wind, and biomass also. Solar power plant is everywhere in all industries. In the roads, they are installing solar plates for the recharging of their LED bulbs. Like, and now comes to the non-commercial, means those form of energy which is not using in any industry. So its a example is a fuel and agriculture residue. That residue which we are getting from by the activity of agricultural activity, and animal energy. So these energy are non-commercial form of energy. But when we will advance our technology, when we are going to be do some more research on these type of energy, we can use this energy is also in the form of commercial source of energy, and that should be very much acceptable, and they are not polluting any environment, not polluting to the environment. And so that we have to look forward for some new available form of energy like nuclear and hydro energy, and these are the very cleanest fuel, and they have a good future for the country. Because if we are using cleanest fuel, if we are using good amount of fuel, then pollution will be less. If a pollution will be less energy, and then country growth is also good, because people health is also well, and country is not going to be deteriorated in any form. So if human health is good, country population is good, and pollution level is good, then that country is going to be very much progress in the near future. So we have to focus on the some cleanest source of energy for the development of country and the development of people also. Now, we will divide this energy resource on the basis of following category. First one is the on the basis of source. On the basis of source, we have divided energy in the primary source and secondary source. Primary source is just like we are using, just whatever in the form it is available, we are using that form of energy is called as primary source of energy. Secondary source of energy, that we are using that energy from two sources by their secondary sources, and their example is oil or gas converted into steam and electricity. So primary source is just a coal, oil and gas. We are using that coal in the thermal power plant, and that coal, oil and gas is now converted into steam and electricity. This is called a secondary source of energy. Now comes to the commercial source of energy. Commercial source of energy is nothing but those source which is associated with the commercial form of energy. So it's a basic example is the electricity, lignite, coal, oil, natural gas, etc., etc. Now non-commercial form is that those that is not giving any commercial form, and those that is not using in any industry. So it's a example is firewood, agriculture waste, agro waste in rural areas. Now come to the on the basis of availability, renewability, we will renew again, or we will be able to renew it, or we will be not be able to renew it. We have divided again in two types, renewable and non-renewable. Renewable example is those energy which we can renew again and again with very less effort. So it's a example is a wind power, solar power, geothermal energy, tidal energy, hydroelectric and power energy. All these are renewable energy. We can easily available this energy with very less effort, and they are present every time, and plenty of these energy is present on our earth. Solar energy is not going to be vanished anytime. Like that geothermal energy, like that wind energy, all those energy we can renew again and again. Now comes to the non-renewable form of energy, and the non-renewable form of energy example is coal, oil and gas. Coal is present beneath the earth, and it is a non-renewable source of energy, like we can't renew it again, and its renewal will take billions of years. So at that time human will exist or not, we don't understand, we don't know. So it will comes under the non-renewable source of energy, because by the renewable of this energy will take long time, very long time, and that long time human is going to be vanished, or human is present on the earth, we don't know anything about this. So these are coming under the non-renewable form of energy, and they are called a traditional form of energy also, because we are using these energy from the ancient time. Renewable is called as non-conventional energy resource, non-conventional energy resource and non-traditional energy resource. Non-renewable is called as conventional energy resource and traditional energy resource. We call it also like that. So on the basis of source, energy is of two type: primary source, secondary source. On the basis of commercialization, we divided into commercial and non-commercial. On the basis of availability, renewability, we divide it into two types: renewable and non-renewable. Now comes to the next slide, that is about the global energy consumption. Globally, how much amount of energy is consumption? there is an uneven pattern of energy consumption in different country. Because if a country is developed, they have a good technology, they are using more amount of energy. If a country is not developed, they are not having that much good technology, they are not having good industry, so they are using less energy. So developed country has a population of 10%, usually approximately 90% of the available resources. So developed country has population is also less, so they are using good amount of energy. And on the other side, what we are discussing, there is a country where is the people depend upon wood as a form of energy. Like in some rural area, when you'll go to the local people, they will totally depend on the woods for their cooking purpose, for their everything purpose, because LPG is a very much too much costly for these people. So rate of growth in energy sector in developed country is 1% to 2%, but in developing country growth is 7 to 8%. So from the last 20 years, developing country focus on the energy sector. So developing countries from the last 20 years is too much focusing on the growing their energy needs, but it is going to be achieved in the new future. But developed country is too much advanced in their science and technology also. So they are doing more research. They are doing more research for the energy growth and all those things. Now, yeah, we will discuss about the why we need to reform in the energy sector, because developing countries require substantial investment in their power sector to sustain economic growth and reduce poverty. Like that, developing country requires too much substantial investment, investment in their power sector to grow for their economic growth and for reducing their poverty. And now fossil fuel are going to be depleted, and it needs proper care, because fossil fuel will produce pollution also. Fossil The main drawback of using fossil fuel is that it will add in the carbon dioxide, it will increase the amount of carbon dioxide. And after increasing amount of carbon dioxide, what we will get is GHG, greenhouse gases, and it is very much polluted, and it will pollute to the country. So, and then oil and gas crisis was happened in 1980, and then after that, all country have signed a Kyoto Protocol to reduce their carbon exemption by the every country, because by reducing carbon emission only will get development of a country. So India has also signed that Kyoto Protocol. This protocol is only about the reducing their greenhouse gases emission for every country. So yeah, we were going to be discussing the energy consumption in different sectors of India. So we have divided it into three sectors, like domestic sector, industrial, and agriculture. So domestic sector, what it is having overall power consumption of domestic sector in India for the year 2005 and 6 in where is 100 gigawatt, and now in 13-14 it is increased to 198.256 percentage. And now comes to the industrial sector. What in the industrial sector in 2005 and 6, it was reported 151,000 gigawatt hour, and now it is going to be increased to 386. Like that, in agriculture also it is increased. So by this pie chart we are getting that it mostly forms of energy is using in industry only, and in residential form we are using only 10% of energy, and the transport system is also using 22% of energy. So transport system means like railways or airports or airlines, all using energy. Railways is now using electricity for their daily consumption. Now comes to the agriculture. Agriculture, only 5% of total energy is used in agriculture, and other forms is using only 14% of total energy. So energy consumption in different sector in India is very less, and we needs to reform this energy consumption in India by shifting to the mode of green energy. Green energy, because green energy is the cleanest fuel, and it has a future. It has a future for the coming generation also, and it is a sustainable form of energy. Like what we are using today is not going to vanish for the next generation, but in case of fossil fuel, it is not sustainable use, because if we are using today, it is going to be vanished in some incoming days. Now on the basis of the sources, we will classify energy in the primary source and secondary source, and we're going to discuss about these energy in coming lectures also on in the details, like their drawback of using energy, their benefits and their drawback of using every energy. So renewable energy or non-conventional energy is what it is. Renewable energy or non-conventional. Renewable energy means those energy which can be renewed, which can be renewed, which can be renewed. So renew after the many use. How much amount you are going to use, it is not going to be vanished in the coming future. Just like this, non-renewable are nothing but the non-conventional source of energy. Conventional is again the traditional source of energy, what India is using from the ancient time, like coal, petroleum, natural gas and nuclear fuel. All these forms of energy is using by India from very much ancient time. Now comes to the secondary source like electricity and petrol. Electricity is the secondary source of energy. We are getting electricity by the burning of coal. So this is called a secondary source of energy. We are getting petrol by the harnessing petroleum by natural gases. So these two are secondary source of energy, and they it comes under non-renewable also, and they are non-conventional source of energy also. What is the future in the which form of energy is having future in the coming decades, like hydropower, solar power, wind energy, ocean energy, geothermal energy. All these forms of energy is the cleanest fuel, and these energy is having a very good future in the coming days. So we are focusing more on the non-conventional source of energy. And India, many sector is using this kind of energy also, but it needs too much research and development on these energy also. So let's see in this slide, like renewable energy or non-conventional energy. The non-conventional energy are abundant in nature, and according to energy expert, the non-conventional energy has a potential in India about 95,000 megawatt. So non-conventional energy is present in too much amount in the nature. A non-conventional example is, as we know, solar, wind, all are, and they are present in abundant amount in the nature. And India has a very good future for this solar energy, wind energy, ocean energy, geothermal energy, because India is a country where everything is present in a plenty amount. Now comes to the non-conventional source of energy, and it can be renewed with minimum effort and money. So it can be renewed with a very less effort. Though these are the very important advantage of using non-conventional form of energy. That's why government is going to be focusing on more on the non-conventional or renewable source of energy. Non-conventional source of energy are pollution free and eco-friendly also. We are discussing about the benefits and advantages of using non-conventional form of energy. So energy like solar energy, wind energy, biomass energy, ocean energy, geothermal energy, nuclear energy, all comes under the non-conventional source of energy. And all these sources are pollution free and eco friendly. So we are going to discuss about the benefits of using non-conventional form of energy. First one is it is present in abundant amount, like too much amount. And now India has a very good future in the in the field of renewable source of energy. Good future India is having. Now comes to the it's our next benefit is the pollution free and eco friendly. Pollution free and eco friendly also. And its example is solar energy, wind energy, biomass energy, ocean energy, geothermal energy and nuclear energy. Solar energy is energy what we are getting from the sunlight, and by installing solar plate on the terrace of a building, on the terrace of a school, you will get an solar energy. And with the help of this energy, we can use electricity, we'll use everything for this with the help of solar energy. Now comes to the wind energy. Wind energy is nothing but the kinetic energy. The kinetic energy present in the wind is converted into the electricity, is called as wind energy. For in the southern part, wind energy is very much common, because they have installed a windmill like this, and by moving the windmill, you will capture all the winds, and they will produce the electricity. So this is a very means this will not take much effort, and this is a very cleanest source of energy also. Now geothermal energy is not an that form of energy which is present in the underground of the earth surface, and where high heat is present. So we are using this energy. Hydro energy is nothing but the water form of energy. Water energy is present in water. We are using that energy by forming a dam, or by installing a hydropower project. So this is the example of potential energy. Wind energy is the example of kinetic energy. Geothermal energy is the example of thermal energy. Solar power is the example of thermal energy, as well as electrical energy also. So they are the non-conventional source of energy. India has to concentrate on this energy, and we have to do lots of R&D in this form of energy. Now comes to the basics of that renewable source of energy. So what is the basic scenario for this renewable energy? So first of all, 16% of the global final energy consumption come from the renewable source. Only 10% is coming from the traditional biomass, which is mainly used for heating, and 3.4% come from the hydroelectricity. So this is what India is doing, what our country is doing. We are going to be focusing on that renewable source of energy, and it has a very good future. Now comes to the non-renewable source of energy. They are the new sources which are developed in the coming days. Are the examples like small hydropower projects, modern biomass, wind, solar, geothermal, and biofuels accounted for another 3%, and they are growing very rapidly. This is the future of India in the renewable energy resource, and that is growing very good amount, growing very rapidly. And the share of renewable in electricity generation is around 19%. 19% with 16% of global electricity coming from hydroelectricity, and 3% from new renewable sources. So this slide is all about the what a new renewable sources is doing. So about 16% of global final energy consumption come from renewable, and among which 10% is traditional biomass, 3.4% is uh, from electricity, hydroelectricity. And now the non-renewable projects like small hydro, modern biomass, wind, solar, geothermal accounted for the 3%, and this is growing very rapidly. And now the share of renewable in electricity generation is 19%, and it is a very good amount, and it is growing very fast, and it has a good future. And with 60% of global electricity coming from hydroelectricity power project, that is from water, and 3% from new renewable sources. Yeah, now we will discuss about the non-renewable and conventional energy resource. What are those non-renewable energy resource? Before we have discussed what is their drawbacks, and what is their benefits, and what are the non-renewable sources. So means energy resource which are used from ancient times and use fossil fuel for the generation are called conventional energy resource. So what it is, those energy resource which we are using from ancient times, as we have already discussed, and uses fossil fuel for generation, is called as conventional source of energy. Traditional source of energy also. Traditional source of energy also. Energy, and they are exhaustible and depleting day by day. They are going to be depleting day by day. They don't have much future. Okay, these and their examples are coal, petroleum, and natural gas and oils. So it is very important to conserve these resources, because India is totally dependent on these resources, because our we don't have much technology to develop the non-renewable kind of renewable energy resources, because we have to do lots of technology, we have to develop more technology, we have to do lots of R&D to develop good technology for harnessing energy from environment. So, and next point is that they are cheap, reliable, and very easily available in the environment. and they are obviously conventional sources also. They are available, easily available, but it will take time to make it available for the human use. Now, the examples of conventional energy resource. The first one is the coal. Coal is nothing but the combustible sedimentary rock, and it is one of the cheapest source of energy generation in these days, because that coal is to using by thermal power plant for generating electricity. Now comes to the petroleum. Petroleum is a fossil fuel that is formed as a result of the decomposition of organic matter, that will form by the decomposition of organic matter, and it will take too long time. So it so we divide it in the category of non-renewable, because it will take more and more time to get this again. Now comes to wood fuel or fuel wood. Fuel wood is one of the most popular source of energy for people living in rural area. They make use of woods for their daily life, like cooking, heating water, and everything. So wood fuel and fuel wood is also a very important conventional source of energy. As a some population of India is totally depend on fuel wood for their daily activity like cooking, heating water, and all. Now comes to the natural gas. Natural gas is mostly used in household cooking and heating purpose. Natural gas is nothing but the petroleum gas. Whatever we are using today's daily life is for our cooking and heating purpose. So this is all about the conventional source of energy, non-renewable source of energy. What we are getting from this point is that we are too much and totally dependent on the conventional source of energy, and that form of energy is sometimes very create pollution also, and it is unavailable in coming future. It is going to be vanished. So we have to think about some alternative source of energy. Now, India is dependency on fossil fuel. India has a too much dependency on fossil fuel, because India is, and it don't have life expectancy. It don't have life expectancy, and by the burning of fossil fuel, atmospheric pollution is going to be increased. The carbon stored in fossil fuel is released as carbon dioxide when they are burned. This leads to the greenhouse effect and global warming. So, greenhouse effect and global warming is caused by the burning of coal. So, by the burning of coal, CO2 is released in the environment. CO2 is the greenhouse gas. Greenhouse gas. So what it is, it causes, it will increase the greenhouse effect, and due to greenhouse effect, more heating is there in the atmosphere. It will melt the north polar ice cap and north ice cap and south polar ice cap, and as a result of it, global warming is there in the whole world. So it is very important to shift from the fossil fuel to the non-conventional fuels for the electricity generation, for every activity, because they don't have any future and they are polluting our environment also. What is their drawbacks? Pollution. First one is the pollution, and their efficiency is also very less as we compare to the non-conventional form of energy. So the efficiency is also very less. Pollution is also where they are not, they don't have a future. They don't have future in coming generation, for coming generation. And sustainability is also not there, uh, because they people are, that is not available in the good amount. So this is the basic of the dependency on fossil fuel. So totally dependency on fossil fuel is not good for the economic development of any country, because energy is directly related with the growth of a country. If a growth of a country we need in a good in a proper way, then we have to shift on the cleanest form of energy, that is green form of energy, like solar power, wind power, tidal energy, and all those things. This is the basic of the energy fossil fuel what we have studied in today's lecture. Now, that is a comparison between renewable energy and non-renewable energy. Natural resource that can be replaced and reused by nature are termed as renewable. So, and it those which can be renewable comes under renewable source of energy, and that natural resource which cannot be replaced are comes under non-renewable forms of energy. So, like what we can see in the next videos that why we have to be shift on the non-renewable source of energy. Renewable sources are replaced through natural processes at a rate that is equal to or greater than the rate at which they are used, and depletion is usually not a worry. So this is a very important point about the renewable resource are like that it can be replaced through natural processes at the rate that is equal or greater than the rate at which they are used, and their depletion is usually not a worry. And now non-renewable sources are exhaustible and are extracted faster than the rate at which they are formed. Its an example is fossil fuel, just same again, fossil fuel like coal, oil and natural gas. See, we can see the examples of non-renewable energy resources, the solar energy, biomass energy, wind energy, geothermal energy, hydropower energy. We can use all these energy for the generation of electricity, fuel for life. And now these are the conventional source of energy, that is coal, fossil fuel, nuclear fuel, and natural gas. All these are used for the generation of electricity, but their amount is very less, and they will causes pollution also. They are not cleanest form of energy, and they are going to be vanished very shortly. And their means renewable sources are replaced through natural process at a rate that is equal or greater than the rate at which they are used, and depletion is usually not a worry, not a problem, because they are going to be renewed again and again, and their renewable rate is more than the rate we are using. Now the basic conclusion of this lecture: this is the generating energy that produces no greenhouse gas emission from fossil fuel and reduces some time of air pollution. Gen- Energy generation that produce no greenhouse emission from fossil fuel and reduce some time of air pollution also. So we have to focus on that means of energy that will reduce the greenhouse gas emission, house gas, and that will reduce the fossil fuel, that will reduce the air pollution also. So what our country is growing very fast, and we have to think about some alternative source of energy, means those source of energy which will produce very less amount of greenhouse gas, and that will not causing any kind of air pollution, and now reduce dependency on imported fuel and create economic development and jobs. If we are going to be shift on the cleanest form of energy like solar energy, wind energy, and all this energy, it will create job in the sector of manufacturing, installation, and more. So this is a very much important for the economic growth also, for economic growth of people. Either it is related to the economic growth of a single person, either it is related to the economic growth of a country. It is very useful, because if we are going to be shift on the green form of energy, then that will causes the new jobs in the area of manufacturing, installation, and more. So our basic means of this lecture, basic conclusion of this lecture: India is growing very fast, and we have to shift on the different form of energy to use energy in the form of sustainability, in the form of cleanest fuel, and those fuel that have future for our country. Sustainable means like we can use this fuel in present generation also, it should be used by the coming future also. And conventional source of energy is going to be vanished after some time, because not vanished because it's renewal will take too much time, means like million of years. So, and for non-conventional source like solar energy, wind energy, it is going to be renewed daily. So no problem when we are going to shift on these resources, and we have to develop some good technology to use these resources for coming generation, because these conventional non-conventional source of energy are cleanest form of energy. They will not cause any pollution, they will not create any kind of nuisance into the environment. And if we are going to be use these form of energy in a big sectors for and that if less pollution is there, country economic growth is more, and industrial growth is also more. So this is the basic about the forms of energy we are using today, and we are going to be discuss in the next video. I'm going to be discussed on this use of these energy resource and some use of these alternate energy resource, their advantages and their disadvantages. and these use of these alternative energy resources in different sectors. What is the importance of use of these natural resource, these alternative energy resource, and what are their benefit and what are their drawbacks? Because everything that is good is have some drawbacks also. So benefits of these energy is important, and the industries and the sectors where we can use this energy, and the different forms of these energy which we can use for the coming generation, which can use we will use for the future generation also. Now, thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.